everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Agent's Edge. My name is Ryan Polimeni, I'm your host. Today we got special guest, Mr. Bryant Stone, top producer, Mr. Bryant Stone. He has, I've watched this man, I've followed this gentleman for the last 8 years, and I got to tell you guys, it is actually an honor to have him in here. He is going to lay it down for you guys today, talk about what it takes to get to the top production level. Bryant, over the last at least 10 years, I know I've been trying to blaze his trails for a while. I mean, this dude is tearing it up. He has done consistently $20,000 plus every single month, been able to not only hit those numbers, but teach other people how to do that as well. Built an organization, man, all over the country, and is now actually working specifically with agents to help mentor people. And that's what we got him in here today. He's going to help give you some info that's going to help you take your business to the next level. So, Mr. Bryant Stone, thanks for coming in, my man.
Good to see you, man. Good to be here.
Oh, awesome. So listen, what I want you to do is I want to talk about your story. I want to talk about where you came from, and really the journey to the consistent level of $20K a month. Or because we got a lot of people watching, and what I know is there are a lot of people out there that are struggling, like you and I did when we first started, right? We didn't come in and start doing $20K a month.
No.
There was a progression to get there, and our journey is going to be similar to a lot of people watching, meaning, you know, they're going, I see that people are doing it, but I don't know what it takes to get there. How can I get to that level? So that's what I want you to talk about today. Because, you know, like I said, you have been blazing the trail for a long time. You and I both know people come in this thing and they hit a high number, but they wrote one big app, you know what I'm saying? It makes it look like they did it, but then they go back down to mediocre results of the very next week or the very next month as well. So I want you to talk about the key word being consistency, right? I want you to talk about what it takes to stay consistent at that level of production.
Okay, perfect, man. Well, first I'll just start with I got started in the business in September 2008. And, you know, and in this business, you know, what we got to understand is that it is a business, Ryan. You know what I mean? You know, a lot of folks come into this business and they think it's a job and they treat it as such, and then they get job results.
Right.
You know, so I kind of understood that when I got into the business. Now, my first year and a half, first 2 years, give or take, was very rough. You know, I didn't have any mentorship, you know, like the stuff we're doing today.
Yep.
Mentoring agents. I'm mentoring agents now. You're mentoring agents. I didn't have that available. You know, I worked with a couple different companies. My first, like I said, year and a half, 2 years, where that stuff wasn't available. So, you know, once I was able to find a system, and, you know, and just kind of honing this back to what the purpose of this video today is about is, you know, consistency is the first and most important thing is finding somewhere where you can plug into a system. Right?
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? Because, you know, trying to do this business on your own, and I've tried it, you know, it's very difficult because you have to have systems in place, whether we're talking about marketing systems, whether it's, you know, the ability to get you in front of people, because in this business, if you're not getting in front of people, you're not making any money. And that's like, you know, with any sales career or sales job, if you don't have people to see, people to talk to, people to sell to, you can't be consistent, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's finding and plugging into a system that gives you a marketing system. That's number one. And then the second most important thing after that is, you know, what's your activity like? You know, what type of activity do you have? Because, Ryan, you know as well as I know, it doesn't matter how talented you are, you know, how good you can talk, how good you look, whatever the case may be.
Right.
If you don't have the activity to back up the results that you're looking to get, you won't be consistent, and then obviously you will fail out of this business because they don't, you know, you don't get paid a base salary for doing this. You know, there's some organizations that do that, but they pay you very little base salary for that. And then the last thing, you know, outside of that, Ryan, you know, and we'll obviously dig in more depth about this is the, you know, what's your schedule?
Yeah.
You know, what type of schedule do you have? Mm-hmm. And that's where the mentorship and, you know, finding a system, finding a coach all comes into play, because when you first get started, you might not know, Ryan, you know, what type of schedule do I need to set up? What boundaries do I need to set up? Because obviously you got to balance your work life, your business life, and, you know, it's kind of difficult to do that if you don't have some type of business plan put in place.
Right. So here's the thing, and this is something that I get asked all the time is, listen, Brian, you got two people, right? Two people in the same company. You have this woman over here who is just dominating, just smoking it, right? But then you have this guy over here who has the same system, the same marketing plan, the same compensation. What is the difference between you and that person, right? Meaning, and you're talking about activity, schedule, marketing. Tell us what the difference between you being that person who is just absolutely demolishing it in the field versus the person who's struggling. Why are you able to be different than that person? What is the commonality that you're finding amongst yourself and other top producers that for the person watching going, but I got that lead program, I got leads, I'm working, but I'm not getting those type of results. Give us some of the commonalities that you've seen, and then maybe we can even walk people through, because your definition of activity is much different than a lot of other people. I mean, you're a workaholic, and you go out there and you just do what you got to do. But just talk about some of the commonalities you found, and what does activity mean to you versus what other people might be perceiving as, I'm working my butt off, when, they were not even part-time.
Yeah. Well, with all those attributes, with everything the same, there's going to be some commonalities between a top producer who is consistent, and also there's going to be some commonalities of somebody who's not consistent, not a top producer. And I think it all just to keep this simple, man, I think it all just rolls back to what type of activity you're doing. And I would be hard-pressed to challenge the guy or girl, all things being equal, once again, that what really is their activity level. Because like you said, what I may consider an activity level, and with the guy that's not getting the same results, everything being equal, is probably, if they're being honest about it, it's probably not the same. So, I'll just give you a very simple example. So, if we're both getting the same amount of leads per week, okay, I know when I first got started and I was not very good at calling people on the phone and booking appointments and overcoming objections and things like that, I knew that I personally had to do double to triple times the amount of calls than somebody who was a seasoned veteran and very good at the phone. So, I might bang on the same lead, Ryan, 7 times in one day. Okay. And maybe 30 to 40 times a week. I mean, I'd call that number so much that they'd pick up and be like, "What?" Who's calling me? You know what I mean? Then I'd go right into my script. But I know for me personally, to get better, I was just talking. There was interviewing LeBron James after the finals, and he was talking about Kevin Durant, and they said, what's the difference between Kevin Durant in 2012 when you played him, and the Kevin Durant now? And he said, well, experience. Right. Experience is the best teacher. So the faster that you can fail, and just make a mess of it when you first come in, the better that you're going to be. A common mistake I do see, Ryan, of a lot of new agents is that, they want to be prepared. Right. They want to perfect everything before they even get into a home. They want to know every single objection before they even get one. Right. And it's like, it's hard to learn that way. Not to say that you can't learn that way. It's just that your process is going to take a lot longer. Sure. Because you're trying not to trying not to fail. Right. That's the only way you can get better is by failing. Sure.
So basically it's going to have that ready, fire, aim mentality, right? Instead of trying to learn it all, learn everything about the product, which a lot of people do, because it's the fear of failure holding them back, like you're saying. So instead of just taking the leap of faith and saying, I know I'm going to make mistakes, because let's be real, this business, I don't care if you're doing annuities, you're doing life, this is a situational type of learning business. Oh, yeah. The best way to learn in this business is to go out there, fall flat on your face, and call the person mentoring you and say, listen, I messed up, or while you're in the house saying, hey, help a brother out, right? I mean, really what it comes down to. But that's the best way to learn. And so what you're saying is, yeah, you had the same system as the top producer, but you had to make up for in numbers what you lacked in skill at the very beginning.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, awesome. So tell me, so as you progressed, right, and when we talk about activity, first and foremost, to get to $20K a month, what does it look like? You talk about your marketing plan, or you use the words leads, right? So you've been dealing with mortgage protection, final expense predominantly.
Yeah.
If somebody's watching and they say, I need to go from $5K a month to $20K a month, what does their lead investments need to look like? How many leads were you taking? Give me the real number. Because I mean, everyone's like, I took 10 leads and wrote 10 grand this week. It's a load of crap. So give us the real deal numbers about, when you're doing 20K consistently, and we've got somebody taking 5 leads a week and they're saying, why am I not getting the results? What was your investment like in leads? And in reality is, how many leads did it take to get to that number?
Okay. Well, one of my mentors in the past used to tell me all the time, he said, when it came into relation to leads, he used to say, you got to stack the deck in your favor. Okay. And, what that basically means is that make sure that you have so many leads that you can't even count them all. Because, you're going to get people that are going to no-show you. That's going to happen. It doesn't matter who you are. Okay, you're going to get people that you're just not going to make a sale to. Okay, because some people, they wouldn't buy if, I don't know, Donald Trump came to their house. It doesn't matter who came to their house. They're just not going to buy. Okay, and then you're going to get people that are going to either cancel, reschedule, whatever the case may be. So with that understanding, you just have to make sure that you have an overabundance of appointments.
Yep.
So that through hell or high water, you're writing, on a bare minimum, $5,000 to $7,000 on a weekly basis. Because obviously to hit 20,000, that's the number that we're kind of talking about here today, is to hit that number, whether it be mortgage protection, final expense, over the last year and a half, I've gotten to the Medicare business and I've been doing some stuff with that. Recently I've gotten to the federal business, been doing some things with that, so just trying to work smarter. Understanding that you do need to stack the deck in your favor. So with that being understood, it's like, okay, what does that mean in a dollar and cents manner? What does that mean in a lead manner? So, like, first off, you need to find out, where you can get leads from. Okay, because if you're working for a certain agency, a certain organization, you need to find out what they have to offer. Okay.
Yep.
And with that being said, I mean, in order to write $5,000 to $7,000 and being guaranteed to write that, Ryan, you need to at least get in 30 to 40 leads every single week.
30 to 40, okay.
30 to 40 leads a week, okay? They can be new leads, they can be old leads, they can be semi-new, semi-old, but 30 to 40 new people every single week that you need to speak to, okay? And what will happen, Ryan, is over time you're going to develop a pipeline.
Yep.
And, I can't tell you how many times, Ryan, that I've made sales from people that I've been calling for 8 months.
Right.
I've been calling for 8 months. They finally picked up the phone. I booked the appointment and I went out there and helped them. So it's just consistently building up that pipeline.
Yeah.
And then just at the end of the day, guys, it's finding the buyers. Find the buyers. Try not to waste time with people that aren't going to buy. Because people just aren't going to buy. There's nothing that you can do about it. But finding the buyers. But, if you're getting 30 to 40 leads per week, and that budget should look anywhere. It just depends, obviously, what type you're getting. I mean, it could be as little as $400 to $500 a week, as much as $1,200 to $1,500 a week. It just depends what type you're getting, final expense, mortgage protection, Medicare, what lead vendor you're getting them from, what they're charging you. So, I mean, there's a lot of factors with that, but the number that you should be looking at is 30 to 40 fresh new people to speak to every week. So it just gives you consistently the numbers that you need, because you're going to need at least 20 appointments a week. And
that's including referrals too, right? So because somebody's watching this right now, I get ready to fall backwards in their chair going, I got to buy 30 leads at $20 a pop, you know what I'm saying? Or 40 leads at $50 a pop. But the reality is like you said, you're building your pipeline. You need a quick explosion in your business to generate that kind of that momentum, right? Because you didn't go from $0 in your bank account to to 20K every single month without creating a quick blast of momentum in your business. Right? I remember when you first started, and you were telling me some of the stories about how when you took that next step in your business, it was when you upped your investment, even though you didn't have the confidence of, I got a lot of money in the bank to make this investment, but you made it, and it really sprung that momentum in your favor, because now you've got 20 to 30 leads a week. but you also have referrals in your pipeline too. I mean, now you're talking, guys, it's not just so much purchasing 30, 40 leads. You do need to do that. But on top of this, he's also has a ton of referrals that he's getting, because that first batch of 20 to 40 leads that you bought or that these guys are buying, the reality is if they close 10 of those and they get 2 referrals per app that they write, now you're talking about 20 more leads. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So that's where you talk about budget-wise. Somebody's going, well, how does he get 30 brand new leads and pay $400? Because he's getting new leads, plus he has his referrals, plus he's working aged leads. So you're not telling everybody, buy all brand new leads. You're saying whatever you can get your hands on to keep your pipeline full.
Yeah, it all depends, obviously where you're at. If you're looking to go 0 to 60 or, meaning, $0 to $20,000 a week,
yeah.
You have to start somewhere. I mean, obviously I didn't start buying the freshest, most expensive, the highest quality leads when I first got started.
Sure.
I started with the jump, leads that were discounted, aged, and obviously it's a lesser quality lead, but, I didn't have the investment dollars at the beginning to get out there and buy, the most expensive leads. So you have to work your way up to that. But regardless of whether it's new, old, whatever the case may be, Ryan talked about obviously referrals. That's how you can create additional leads. Then obviously once you get into this business for at least a year, now you even have, I've written a lot of annuities, Ryan, solely and purely off of my annual reviews.
Right.
If you're writing 10 to 15 to 20 cases a month, obviously that's, after a year, that comes to be, 10 to 15 to 20 new leads every month.
Right.
That you can talk to people, do annual reviews. Now they know you, they trust you, they know that you're just not another agent that writes them a policy and never hear from them again. They have that trust in you, and now they're willing and open to allow you to help them out with other products that you can offer. So I mean,
sure.
I just want to piggyback on what you were saying
absolutely. There. So as we're going to wrap this stuff up, but what I want you to do is I want you to talk to me about your schedule, right? Because a lot of people watching this, and I coach a lot of people, and you coach and mentor a lot of people. I think one of the biggest commonalities, as we talked about, between the top producer and somebody struggling is the way that they lay their schedule out as far as the actual productivity that they do every single week, right? So you follow a specific system, the days you run, the days you make dials, right? So if somebody's watching this and they're full-time and they come to Bryant Stone, they say, man, I made a whole 100 dials this week. I ran 3 appointments this week.
Killing it.
You know what I'm saying? But the mentality is people wonder why they're struggling because they're not sticking to something that gets them those consistent results. So tell me a little bit about your schedule, right? Because you kill it in the field. And obviously there's a lot of people watching that need to know what it takes to get to that level. So tell me about your schedule.
Okay. The truth about that, Ryan, is that every week the schedule will change.
Yeah.
Okay. And every week the schedule will probably change for whoever you are, because obviously, life happens, right? Things happen. Aunt's gonna die.
Right. Something happens.
Things are gonna happen. Your kids are gonna have graduations, so on and so forth. So with that being said, Ryan, what I personally do each and every single week, and kind of how my weeks start, are on Sundays. Okay. So like Sunday's a day for me where I don't do anything business related. Okay. Other than set my schedule. Okay. So I guess I'm lying. I guess I do something business related.
You're prepping for the next week. You're prepping for next week, basically.
Exactly. I can't get away from it. So with that being said, once I've spent time with my daughters, my wife, whatever the case may be, what I'll do is I'll just prep to see what I have going on that week, and then obviously plan my schedule around that.
Okay.
So if I have a doctor's appointment, if I got to drop my daughter off somewhere, if I got to go to her funeral, whatever it is, I'll plan my schedule around it. And like I said, each and every single week will change. So with that being said, I make sure that I put the appropriate time into me making phone calls, obviously, because you don't make any money in this business if you don't make any phone calls, unless you have an appointment setter and things of that nature. I know a lot of agents do have that. What I'm speaking about is most agents don't. So let's talk about that. Okay. So, I'll set up, maybe like a Monday morning.
Okay.
Maybe 3-4 hours in the morning. We're strictly focused on dialing all the leads that I got, new, old, whatever it is, whatever I have and get my hands on. I'm making appointments, and I'm typically from Ryan. I'll set up appointments, 48 hours out at the most. Okay. So if they can't meet with me on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, and I've tried every single nook and cranny to book an appointment with them, unless they really sell me that they're going to meet with me after that point, and that's very, very few and in between. Most likely what I'm going to do is say, hey, listen, I'll call you next time I'm in the area.
Okay.
Because the last thing you want to do is book a maybe appointment, have that on your schedule, Ryan. You put the time into that.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden they're not there or they forgot about it, whatever the case may be. So the point being is that you don't want to waste time on people that are going to waste your time.
Sure.
So,
No, it makes sense.
and
So 48 hours out.
Yep.
Don't waste your time. So Mondays was typically your day of dialing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how many days? So when you're doing that dial session, is it one dial session? Is it morning, afternoon, evening? Tell me about how you set up your dial session.
Okay. So for that day, like I said, in the morning, 8 to noon, 8 to 11, 9 to noon, whatever, like I said, is going on that day.
Mm-hmm.
I like to get in 3 to 4 hours worth of dial time before 1 o'clock. Okay?
Before 1 o'clock. Okay.
Before 1 o'clock. Okay. And then usually in the afternoon, guys, I mean, it's pretty dead, so I don't really try to waste time dialing the phone. And through that 3 to 4 hours of dial time, I might call the same lead 2 to 3 times within that frame.
Okay.
Depending upon, how many leads I got, so on and so forth. So I'll bang out some calls in between then. Then maybe like a 1 to 4, I'm doing other stuff that's involved in my business, talking to agents, checking pending business, working with other folks, just getting things done that I know that need to get done.
Yeah.
Okay. And then usually after that, probably some point in the evening, once people are they're home, they're more relaxed, things like that. Probably from like a 7 to 8:30, 7 to 9. I'm getting back on that phone and making as many dials as I can.
Okay.
And trying to finish booking up the next 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday, as far as many appointments that I can get. I usually like to set an hour and a half between each appointment.
Okay.
So if I set one at 9, I'll set the next one at 10, 10:30.
Sure.
Just depending on the travel distance. Now that I'm down in Florida, it's a little different than working up in the Northeast where everything, there's a lot more people in a condensed area. So, just being smart, Ryan, and then I'll just, I'll just repeat that on Thursday. Thursday I'm repeating what I did on Monday for Friday and Saturday. And if I meet the goal that I'm looking for on a Friday, I might not go out on a Saturday. I might give some of those appointments to agents, which I've done in the past. If I have extra appointments or I met my goal. So, I like to be 3-4 days in the field at most.
Okay.
I think that keeps the mind, body fresh, and also gives you more than enough time to hit the production that you need.
Yeah, okay. Awesome. So 2 full days of dialing. 3 to 4 full days in the field. See, that's the thing is people are going, I'm running 2 days a week. He's running 3 to 4, and he's dialing 2 days a week, meaning you're trying to shoot for 20 appointments a week? Was that your goal?
That's the goal. I mean, if I can get more than that, obviously great. But I know bare minimum to get the numbers that I typically like to get, like I said, which is, the benchmark is, I can't be under 5,000 on a weekly basis. With everything I got going on, you're going to need 20 appointments because, like I said, folks are going to cancel, folks are going to no-show, whatever the case may be. So you want to stack the deck in your favor. Okay.
So I love it. So, but the reality is, people go, "Wow, that's a lot." It's 5 appointments a day. It's 5 hours a day. If you're doing Tuesday, Wednesday, you're trying to do 10 appointments. It's about 5 appointments a day. But that's what you need to shoot for. So, all right, last thing here. Give me your biggest failure to date. Let's talk about that because everybody's got their failure. Give me the one thing that's been haunting you that was like, damn, that thing sucked, but it's all good. What you got?
In the business?
In the business. Give me your biggest business failure to date. Because I know a lot of people watching have probably witnessed or are going through that same type of failure, and they're going, if he did it, I can do it too. You know what I'm saying? So give me your biggest failure.
Well,
that you grew from. Let's not even say that you grew from.
I would say the biggest one, I don't know if it'd be the biggest, but one of the main failures that I've had is really just working. It's not from a production standpoint. It's more from a business building standpoint. Is working with the wrong people.
Okay.
I put myself in situations in the past against my better judgment of working with people that I probably most likely shouldn't have worked with because all the red flags were there from the beginning when I hired. So
Okay.
Things such as having tax liens, having bad credit. Things of that nature. So, I've had agents bite me in the past. I'm sure you probably have too.
Oh, yeah.
I've written a bunch of business and then rolled all that business up to you. So, obviously, if you're in the building, the business building aspect of this business, that's probably been one of the failures that I've had.
It's taking everybody to their grandma in, right?
They're just hiring anybody, just, trying to help everybody. And, I consider myself a person that likes to trust everybody till they prove me wrong.
Sure.
But sometimes, you just gotta use logic and kind of use your better judgment, things like that. So that's probably one of the biggest things. I don't consider stuff on the production side really as a failure because that stuff you can more or less can control. So
absolutely,
with your activity and and the other things that we talked about today. So
awesome. Well, hey guys, listen, I hope this has been super helpful for you. We're going to have Mr. Bryant Stone back on plenty of times because this guy is just absolutely killing it in the field. Listen, if you have any comments, questions, please make sure that you post them right below below the video, and make sure that you click on the link below or actually on the video to subscribe. Like us on all our social media platforms at Ryan Polimeni. Listen, man, it has been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much. Listen, make sure next Thursday at 12 Eastern Standard Time. I always forget that, so I've been told to tell you that. 12 Eastern Standard Time. Do not miss our next show. Listen, we've got more top producers coming your way. Super fired up to bring them to you guys. You're going to learn a ton. Look forward to seeing you on the next show.